Hello, everyone. Livia, could you please verify if the sound for here is on or not, or the sound for the computer is in the... Yeah, I will present some videos and thank you. Okay. Good night to everyone. Thanks a lot for being here, right? The reflection for today, it's a good timing because we have a new year right now, right? And is there anyone here not expecting any emotions that we are going to face this year? So no illusions, right? We are going to face emotions. And basically the up and downs that we're going to face are emotions. So it's going to be our own classification on saying, oh, it's a up or it's a down. It's up to us, right? The reflection for today, it's exactly that. Let's see how the Spiritism could help us on understanding why I'm facing an up, why I'm facing a down, right? So let's start with something here. Do you think the up and downs that we have in life is like this, like a giant wheel? We are going up, and then down, and then up, and then down. Do you think like that? Or is it more like this? More like this. And not a good news, but it's worse than that, right? Why it's worse than that? Because we don't know the trail. We don't know when it will happen. If you're going to a roller coaster, you know that you're going to have a down, and then you're going to have a spin or whatever. But in our life, we don't know. It's a roller coaster, but we don't know the trail. It's like you are blind in a roller coaster. But two things here important for us to reflect. We are the architect of this roller coaster. So our next step is on us. And more important than that, who is the engineer for this roller coaster? God, right? So I think everybody here in this room, including me, if you don't trust in an engineer, you are not going to the roller coaster. Of course not. You are going to the roller coaster because you trust in the engineer. Right? The same for us. We are the architect. We control our life. We control the up and downs. So as we're going to present later, that we've got the control on that thing. And we need to trust on God because God is the engineer of our roller coaster. Sounds good? Makes sense? So, references for today. Books, right? We need to read to understand. First book here, Self-Discovery. So basically for us to classify if we are facing an up and down, we need to know us. We need to know ourselves, right? This book right here, the first one, Self-Discovery, it's a good one to support us for a self-discovery, for know thyself, which is a basic thing. Without this knowledge, how can you classify if you're facing an up or if you're facing a down? The Spirit's book, which provide to us the basics for that, right? For all the Spiritism knowledge, and the Gospel according to Spiritism, where we have examples from Gospel in terms of moral situations. As I said in the very beginning, up and downs is basically emotions. Emotions will be a consequence of our moral acts, right? So in this book here, it presents to us a lot of examples in the Gospel, how we can face moral facts or moral attitudes. Okay? 3 books here. And I will present details on each one of them in the slides that I'm going to show you. So to fully disconnect from to fully disconnect us from the outside. So let's hear a song here. I think most of you knows this song. It's a song by Beatles, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and it's performed by this beautiful young lady here in Irish.
There are places I'll remember all my life. Though some I've changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone and some remain. All these places had their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I love them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. And these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. No, I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you all get this music is related to what we are talking here, to what we are going to reflect? Yes? So let's see here the first part here. When he stopped here in my life, I loved them all. So the emotions that you have, the places, the people that you face, the up and downs, you should love them all. That's a reflection for the day. And in the second part of this music, if you replace you by God, take a look into the music. But all of these friends and lovers, there's no one compares with you, God. In my life, I love you more. So if you understand the up and downs in life, you're going to love God much more, because you perceive that the up and downs that we face, there is a purpose for that, right? And this purpose is coming from God to help us. It's not to punish us. So this music here, it's pretty aligned to what we are going to discuss today, to what we are going to reflect today. Make sense here? Right? So, up and downs of life. Do we actually know what is down, what is up? So, do we consider an up in the life as a euphoria, a material successful, a personal fulfillment? That's what we think in our limited vision of life, right? And for the downs, we think about pain, loss, financial problem, a suffering that we are facing. But if we talk about life, we need to talk about an immortal life, right? Not this short life that we are living here for what, 80 years, 75 years, right? So it's infinite. If it's infinite, this concept here of up and downs will change. Don't think about financial loss, pain, suffering, material successful. Think about a down would be what? A learning, right? Apprenticeship. You need to learn something from your suffering. And the ups will be what? A spiritual joy. So think about, let's see if we know ourselves, if we know thyself. Spiritual joy. So someone could raise the hand and say, oh, Marcio is inventing a term. It's not an invention. It's in the Spirit's book. And I'm going to show you later. But think about, you have a son, and your son graduated with the highest grades. How do you feel on this thing? You feel that you accomplish a mission on educating your son, or if you think that your son is better, is the best in class when compared to others. How do you think? If you think in the first way, that you're satisfied because you accomplish your mission as a father, as a dad, or as a mom, you are aligned with the spiritual joy. If you think that your son is the best comparing to the others, it's your proudness that is popping up. It's not a spiritual joy, right? It's not a spiritual joy. A spiritual joy is something that you carry over to your immortal life. Make sense? That's a spiritual joy, right? Let's not think about selfishness. Let's not think about proudness on being the best, I'm the best. Not this. That's the up. And the down, if you're suffering, it's because you need to re-educate. You need to educate yourself. And this re-education will bring you for the whole life. You see? Makes sense here? Did we all change this up and down? So let me prove to you, because I think Marcio is inventing this spiritual joy. So in chapter 13, item 12, the gospel according to Spiritism, nothing more than Saint Vincent of Paul brought us this message. Men of good will, of a good and firm will, unite to continue widely the work of spreading charity. Charity, if you perform charity, it will give you a spiritual joy, for sure. In the very exercise of that virtue, you will find your reward. There is no spiritual joy that it does not bring in the present life. You see? Charity, it's something that you're going to carry over for your immortal life. It's a spiritual joy, right? It's an up. It's an up. Every time we face something up, think about, I'm carrying over this emotion to my eternal life, or it's something that it will finish next week. For example, another example. You are a fan of a football team, right? And your team won a game. Is this a spiritual joy? Of course not, because the next week your team could fail, right? And it's something that will, when your team is winning, it brings you proudness. You feel that you are better than others, which is actually not a spiritual joy, right? But if you are the coach of the team and you teach your players, right? You teach your players how to proceed in respect of the other team, and your team won, that will give the coach what? A spiritual joy, right? Because he taught the message to them. Respect the others. You're going to win the game, fine. But be humble to proceed in your life. Not consider yourself as the best of the best of the best. Make sense? Right? And let's see the other side. Let's see the down. Chapter 5, item 18 of the same book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. Lacordaire present to us in the chapter related to good and bad suffering. When facing sufferings or obstacles, if you are able to place yourself above the situation, thinking out of the box, by managing to dominate the impulse of impatience, anger, and despair, then you may say to yourself with just satisfaction, I was stronger. So if you face something bad, you are capable to supersede and understand the lesson that is being presented to you regarding the situation that you're facing. Make sense here? That's a good chapter in this book, Good and Bad Suffering. Everybody here on planet Earth, we are going to suffer, right? If not, we are not being on Earth, reincarnated here. So this is a fatality, let's say that. But the choice of good suffer or bad suffer is on us. We can decide the good and bad suffer. It's depending on us only. Okay? That's a good chapter if you want to go deeper here. Okay. Everything passes. Right? Everything passes. That's what Mother Mary, right? Mother of Jesus, likes to say, it shall pass. Everybody who stopped there to talk to her, what was the main message that she was giving to everyone that was talking to her 2,000 years ago? It shall pass. Right? If it's a suffering, if it's an up, it shall pass. So that's the difference. We need to think on the eternal life. So everything will be carried over to the eternal life, the up and downs. But it's up to us to classify them as an up, a spiritual joy, and a learning or apprenticeship. Make sense here? Make sense? So, spiritual joy and learning are necessary marks, emotions, that we take into our eternity. Eternity means eternity, infinite life. We are moving on. Okay? Any questions here about the spiritual joy, learning? Sounds good? We're on the same page? Good. So, let's try to practice how we can live better with our up and downs. We know how to classify up and downs now, right? We know. It's up to us. It does not depend on any external entity. It's on us to classify. I'm facing an up, I'm facing a down. If I'm facing an up, let me see if I can move that thing into a spiritual joy. And if I'm facing a down, let me learn from that, right? So, but how can we live better? That's what I mentioned before, understanding the good and bad suffering. So when we concentrate on suffering, we are concentrating in the effect, right? So let's change that thing and concentrate in the cause. So I'm suffering for some reason. So if you are continue to suffering, it's because you didn't clean up the cause. So law of cause and effect. For every effect, there is something, there is a past cause in this incarnation, most of them, and some in previous lives that we are carrying over. right? And we need to understand that suffering is a natural occurrence of the evolutionary process. We are all spirits incarnated in a process of evolution. We are going up. There is no way back. We do not move back. We are going up. Some of us can go faster. Some of us can go slower, but we are all going up, right? And suffering is a natural process. It's like a rock, a gem, right? You've got a rock, a mineral. So to become a gem, you need to make some kind of polishing, right? If you see a rock, it's not so beautiful, but when you polish, it becomes beautiful. Suffering is the polishing that we need to become a gem. It's hard, but it depends on us to understand how we can classify this polishing as a bad one or a good one. Right? Make sense? It's laborious. It's not difficult. Right? Yeah. Difficult, it's something that it's unreachable. So you need your work. It needs your effort. Right? The polishing, it depends on our effort. Okay? And we should not forget that we are part of the planet Earth. The planet Earth is going up as well. And we are helping the planet Earth to go up. Some people could raise a hand and say, oh, but I'm seeing a lot of bad stuff on Earth and blah, 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 and so on. But believe me, we are getting better. We are getting better. I can give you an example. About 100 years ago, 150 years ago, so people can kill each other in the street and the others are giving applause for that. We don't see that thing anymore. We don't see slaves like we see 100 years ago. We are getting better. The problem is that good news does not sell so much as bad news. And the media loves to present bad news. Right? If you focus on the good news, you see how many people we've got. We never had so many people in the world that could read. So if you think about in the time of Christ, 2,000 years ago, comparing of the age of the earth, it's nothing. So more than 90% of the people were not able to read. More than 90% of the people. And now we got some, right? But maybe 5%, I don't know. But we are getting better. And there's a question in the book of spirits, the question 784, that presents exactly the answer for that. I'm not going to give this answer. I'm going to invite you to read this question. Question 784 in the book of spirits. That explains that. The question is that he is asking if, Kardec is asking about if the planet, if the earth is, because he's seeing a lot of bad stuffs, if the human race is not going backwards.
You want us to go to the book?
To the book to read the answer. It's a, no. It's a homework, question 784. There's an answer there. Right? So I'm inviting you to take a read into this question. Or maybe we can have a future lecture about specific for this question. Curiosity, right? Curiosity kills the cat. Okay, so planet Earth, we are moving up, right? We are getting better, right? But we need to help the Earth to move up, right? So how we can improve? Understanding that we are spirits in evolution. And to be spirits in evolution, we are going up. We need to improve, right? If all of us will improve our psychosphere, the planet Earth will improve as well, and then we are going to evaluate in an upper category of inhabited world, right? Right now, the planet Earth is in the category of a planet of proofs and atonements. That's the reason we are here. We are suffering. We've got proofs, we've got atonements to pass. It's like a school, right? We are in the what? Elementary? A little bit elementary school. Close to the middle school. And we are going up, right? We are going up, but depending on us. What? Okay, middle school. First year of middle school. Okay. We are going up. We are going up. But it depends on us. It depends only in our effort, okay? Any questions here? Understanding what is a good and bad suffering? What is a good suffering? What is a good suffering? We are going to suffer. A good suffering is that we understand that we are spirits in evolution, right? And we need to pass to this experience, a proof or atonement, to improve. That's a good suffering. Resignation is an example, right? A bad suffering is the one that complains all the time. The one that does not solve the problem, but prefer to spend more time complaining. So we've got a joke that the people like that, someone like that, if it's raining gold, this person will ask for an umbrella. There's no umbrella here, it's raining gold. So you always will find someone that will complain. So it's a good example that this guy or this person decided for a bad suffering. Right? A good suffering is that let me learn from this suffering. Why I'm facing that thing. I like to give an example. In the place that I was living in Brazil, close to the beach, there was a guy, much older than me, but he was living in a bed. He's tetraplegic, right? And I saw him in the beach, right, every weekend or every day in the beach, very happy. People will carry him too close to the water, put some kind of plastic in the sand, put water there, and put him inside. And he was very happy. Very happy. Every time I was watching this guy, and I said, man, how can you be happy in this situation? And he was happy. And Spiritism gave me the answer for that. He was happy because he understood his situation, why he's in this situation for some reason, right? And he was giving examples. He was giving example to the others. People who was watching him, now I understand he is an example. If I'm suffering a lot, let me remember this guy, right? He was suffering much more than me, and he was happy. On the other side, in this area, there was a guy that I remember very poor, asking for money, like a beggar, and he was has some kind of physical problems, and he was very aggressive. So that's an example of bad suffering. The other one was happy. This one was suffering. So who decided on the good or bad suffering? Them, right? It was not any external entity who decided for them. They decided. Their free will decided on good or bad suffering. So why we cannot apply the same thing to us? So if you're suffering, stop, think. Is the suffering for what? To learn something? Let me learn something. So if I'm going to complain, this will not solve anything. Make sense? Okay? Another way for us to live better. No, let me give this example from Joana de Angelis. Happy Life, chapter 72. Look at what Joana de Angelis. Joana de Angelis is a mentor of one of the main mediums in Brazil, Divaldo Pereira Franco. And she brought this message pretty simple and straightforward. Bless each evolutionary opportunity with joy. Look at that. With joy. The pain faced with resignation decreases in intensity, and as much as it is borne in silence. That's the example of this guy that I mentioned in the beach. it passes faster. You never face the sufferings that you do not deserve. Right? So there's no pain that it's out just to play with the people. No, you deserve that thing. Just as you not stay on earth in an exceptional regime without facing them. We are on earth. As I said, the planet Earth is in the middle school. Right? We need to face that for our improvement, for our moral evolution. God's laws are the same for everyone. So show me a person on earth that it's not suffering or never suffer. You're not going to find. You're not going to find. Replacing the love that is scarce, right? Our planet, it's missing that. Pain is the master that drives the advance. That's a summary of good and bad suffering from Joana de Angelis. The master. So, but in the future, I don't know when, love and the pain will reduce, right? That's the message here.
The message here is like how we behave having that kind of information. Say somebody's suffering because they deserve. And how Jesus addressed that. His disciples saw the blind man and he asked, is it his sin or his parents' sin that he was born blind? The same sort of behavior that we could see somebody suffering very badly and immediately we think that, well, they deserve that, they have issues to resolve, which is the natural attitude that disciples were having, and Jesus immediately cut them off and said, no, it's not like that. He was born like this because in him everybody can see the grace of God. So instead of having
as an example,
judgmental attitude, what Jesus wanted us to see was that we should learn there, and we should respect, and we should give grace to God for us and for this person.
Of course, yeah.
But unfortunately, we see people having this kind of spiritual knowledge that instead of applying that, they easily can become very judgmental. And instead of helping that person, it can cause some kind of frustration or embarrassment.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Valdo. So, let's see another tip for us to live better. Performing a self-knowledge. So, if we perform a self-knowledge, we are going to understand ourselves, and then we can classify why I'm suffering, right? If I'm suffering an up or down, we can classify it, right? Understanding the causes of suffering and doing our part righteously, okay? It's a renewal with balance, right? And that's the final phrase here. It's great. It's exactly from Joana de Angelis. The energy generated by a peaceful conscience is responsible for the release of suffering. That's great, right? That's great. A peaceful conscience is that we are aligned, we understand why we are suffering or why we are facing a spiritual joy. It will give us a calm. We understand, right?
That makes me realize how much we need to stop and truly get
into our go deeper.
ourselves.
Yeah,
And
and
to be in the presence,
mhm.
to feel the presence of God,
Yeah,
so we can have some level of peace in us.
yes, we understand that everything that we are passing, first of all, it shall pass. Period. The second of all, it's for something. It's for is for a reason. It's to bring spiritual joy, right, for us, or it's for us to learn something. That's what we discussed in the very beginning. And how can we perform a self-knowledge? How can we perform that? Question 919a in the Book of Spirits. St. Augustine gave to us the answer, which is so simple, but it's a daily exercise. It's a daily exercise that we need to practice. And St. Augustine told us, let me shorten that thing, is that every day, not every week, not every year, in the New Year's Eve, let's remember what we did in the year. No. St. Augustine is saying to us, every day, before going to bed, make a reflection on what you did during the day, mainly what you did against others, right? Think about if the other did the same to you, how you're going to feel. Going to feel bad? Going to feel okay? So think about your attitude. Was a selfish attitude, or if it was a proudness attitude? If you practice that thing on a daily basis, that will promote to you the self-knowledge. And then you're going to understand if you are so selfish, if you're going to be so proud in terms of thinking about, I'm the best of the best. Okay? Make sense here? Good? So simple and so difficult, right? Practice love and charity. Love the agape love, right? The fraternal love, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. It's exactly what I said in this message from St. Augustine, right? So do you want the others to do the same for you? Okay. If you don't want the others to do what you did to others, you need to rethink about yourself, right? So practice love and charity. That's another thing that will promote to us this up and down, right? Let's move on. That's a good point. And Spiritism is great for that. One of the bases of the Spiritism is the reasoned faith. So think about, every time you face something, think about it, reflect it. So this young guy right here, it's in the hole, right? What is going to be, when you are in the hole, what is going to be your first action? Can someone say? You are in a hole. You are suffering for some reason. So the first thing that you're going to do if you are in a hole, inside a hole. What? That's the second one. There will be some. What? Complaint will not solve. Stop to dig. Right? Sometimes we are inside the hole and we continue to dig. Stop to dig, and then you find a way to go out. So that's a reasoned faith. Right? So reasoned faith is that trust in God. Right? Good and just. And he does not act in a partial way. So we are equal. So there's no one suffering more and less than the other. So it's up to us for this classification. So he gave us the same opportunity. Right? I'm saying about the eternal life. Another thing for that thing is correct channeling of thought. So instead of complaining, so think about, I'm going to learn from that thing. So if you receive a lemon, make a lemonade. Don't squeeze the lemon on your eyes. So get the lemonade, practice the lemonade, right? Patience, that's quite difficult, right? Sometimes it's quite hard to practice. Yeah, laborious, yes. It's patience, because sometimes we ask in our prayers that, God, give me patience. The next day he will put you in a traffic jam, right? The next day you're going to be facing a traffic jam an hour and a half tight there. Okay, you asking me patience. I'm trying to give you. Practice that. So patience is understanding that the time is owned by God. He knows what we want and the right time. It's not what we want now. We are very anxious. The anxiety on us, it's push us to say, God, I need that thing now. I need now. I need now. No. Wait for God's time. And also, understanding God's will. He is just and good. If he is just and good, he's not going to punish you. He's only make the justice. So if you need to suffer, it's because you need to suffer for your learning, for your improvement. It's not to punish you. So, and faith, keep the faith in the future. Remember Mary? It shall pass. Right? Be patient. It shall pass. So let's review here those topics. I know that maybe it's too much information. So let me summarize here what we talk about. How can we live better with understanding the good and bad suffering? Okay? No questions on here? Fine? We understand the choice? Performing a self-knowledge. St. Augustine, every day before going to bed, blah, blah, blah. Good? Practicing love, the agape love, fraternal love, and charity. Keeping the reasoned faith. It's missing something here. Patience and resignation. Right? Any questions about that thing? But I think it's missing something here. It's missing one point here that maybe we didn't talk. Can someone guess? What we are missing here? Pray is a pray, is a connection. It's okay. Yeah, but that's under here, right? So I'm going to point here. It's simple. Gratitude, right? If we are facing a good or bad suffering, gratitude, always. Always. Because it's God giving us an opportunity to improve. So if He gave to us an opportunity to improve, why not use it? Our incarnation is an opportunity to what? To improve. So let's use it to improve. Make sense? I can give you one example. It's a story from Chico Xavier. Chico Xavier was one of the main mediums in the last century. He wrote more than 500 books, right, from the spirits. And this story was written by Célia Diniz in a book. Let me translate that. I don't think this book is in English. The name of the book is Winning the Deaf or something like that, right? And Célia Diniz, she suffered. I would say that thing because she missed her son, 3 years old, by a silly accident, and later her daughter had missed it as well. I think it was in a car accident. So as a mom, if you miss 2 kids, it's a lot of suffering, right? And for the son, 3 years old, this story is in a film, The Mothers of Chico Xavier. There's a film. And this little kid, he was in the rear of a bike of his nanny. And the nanny fell down and he fell down on the floor, hit the head, and 2 days later, he disincarnated. So Célia Diniz suffered a lot with this situation. A lot. And every time she was going to talk to Chico Xavier was asking her, forgive the nanny. Forgive the nanny. And it took a lot of years for her to forgive the nanny for this situation. And when she finally did the forgiveness, she went back to Chico Xavier and told Chico, Chico, I finally forgave the nanny. And Chico said, okay, congratulations, but let go a little further, a little further. And so Chico, was tough for me, it was pretty hard for me to forgive the nanny. You wanted me to go further? Yes. Did you express your gratitude to her? And she said, what? Yes. Go back, talk to the nanny, and say thanks a lot for the nanny to her. But Chico, how can? Yes. Because imagine if it was you that was driving the bicycle. So go there, express this gratitude. So you see how gratitude, it's something that it's very important for us to make this balance. Yes, exactly. That situation. So he just came for 2-3 years. So this thing would happen. Could happen in a car accident, could happen in the bicycle accident. It happened. So and Chico convinced her to go back and express a gratitude to the nanny. So it's amazing, this story. It's written in this book. It's a very good book. So I can figure out the name of the book. It's in, I think I've got here. Let me just see here. I can give you the name, so if you are interested in reading this book. Any questions here on those 6 tips here on how we can live with our up and downs? I got it. Okay, so okay, so in this chapter 5 is the one reflecting the good and bad suffering. God has often told you that He does not place heavy burdens on weak shoulders. Right? It's not a punishment. The burden is proportional to the strength, and the reward will be to the resignation and courage. So if we are facing a suffering, so think about that. It's something that I can afford. I can pass. I can survive. Right? So to wrap up today with this final music here, it's from Creedence Clearwater, right?
Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say, it'll rain a sunny day. I know, shining down like water. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? a circle, fast and slow. I know it can't stop. I wonder. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Yeah! I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day?
The summary, right? From what we talked today. This music here, it's exactly presenting that we always have a sunny day. But did you pay attention to the rain as well? You need to pay attention to both. So, to wrap for today, this message from John that Jesus brought to us. I have told you these things so that in me, in Jesus' message, all the time, if you go to the gospel, you may have peace. In this world, you have trouble. That's what Jesus told us. Jesus does not tell, oh, you're going to live in a paradise. No. In this world, you have trouble. But take heart. I have overcome the world. Thanks a lot for today. Peace for all.